30 years ago, we never would have imagined being here talking about this. We went from childhood games to energetic alignment. By doing the work, we created better versions of ourselves. Join us, two women sharing their intimate journal entries on their path to consciousness. Get in here, get in here, get in here. If you like our content and you want to hear more, subscribe, like, and comment below.
Privacy. I gained a lot of traction when I decided to leave social media in October of 2023. It was supposed to be just until the end of that year, but I extended it throughout 2024. And what did that get me? An entire year of getting out my own way. That little voice inside me that likes to keep up with the Joneses was gone. It created opportunities for me to experience things just for myself and not for the gram. Privacy can liberate an entire culture. It brought me back to my creative nature with certainty that I wasn't biting, plagiarizing, or copying anyone else's style. I became the star in my own show. Privacy taught me that an easy life was attainable. I can manifest the things that I desire because only me, God, and the universe are privy to the mission. Being an original was so key to my growth, and I couldn't have done it without silencing the noise and having private conversations with myself.
I would never have manifested the life I'm living right now had I not taken back my private life. Here's the thing about privacy. When you keep your private life private, you are essentially building an impenetrable forest around the very thing you should guard most closely, your relationship with yourself. There is but one relationship you can never escape, and it's the one you're in with yourself. That's why healing your wounds is your responsibility, even if you didn't put them there. The key to healing, manifesting, or creating your dream life, because guess what? They're all the same thing, is to do it privately without the influence of others. Then watch how quickly your life changes. Get in here, get in here, get in here, y'all. Welcome back to season 2. We are so excited to be back after our launch, and we just can't wait to get in here with y'all.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So after season 1, right, I was so ready for a break. Right?
Well,
So
I thought I was ready for a break, and then I was like, no, there are things happening in the world. We need to
you
be
did.
on here talking. Yeah.
You did. But I was ready for the break. So then once we started coming up with the titles of this season, season 2, it was so fitting to start with privacy because I needed that break. I needed my privacy back for a little bit. And so privacy, I know we're going to talk about it today, but privacy and like taking a break can be the same thing, right?
Listen, um you're right though. We did need that break, Gila, because we bared a lot in season 1. And I was explaining
Right.
to your sister when we were talking the other weekend, and I was like, yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking because we just stood naked in front of the world basically and put it all out there for everybody to hear. And then it was like, ooh, let me like retreat a little
Exactly.
bit and just one to take stock in what we had done.
Right.
Yes, it took like 2 years almost for us to manifest this thing, but I was so excited to see it go live and all of that. But when we were thinking about season 2, we brought up the idea of privacy. It was just so important for me because, like I said in my journal entry, I don't get where I am right now without being private.
Mhm.
So I took back my privacy really when I stopped being on Instagram, and that was late 2021. I was going to be gone for the month of October, just like you, was just going to do a month, was gone after a month and was like, I felt so great, tried to come back, but I knew I didn't want to come back. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be very intentional on how I came back. I never came back. Here we are
Yeah.
now, 3 years later. I just never went back. But in that 3 years, when I started it, I was unhappily married. I am now divorced. I am happily co-parenting. I wanted my own space, a home that was just mine. I now have that. I got a new job that doubled my salary so that I could do all of this comfortably for me and my children. And I don't think I get there on Instagram or without my privacy because,
Yeah.
again, I had opened myself up and I was like, but I was also comparing myself, and comparison is the
Keeping
thief
up with the
is the thief
Joneses.
of joy, right? So now I wasn't worried about what anyone else was doing.
Yeah.
I was only focused on me, and that's how I got those things, because I removed all of the distractions and I kept my private life private, even from some people that I absolutely loved,
Yeah.
because I needed to retreat so that I could heal, so that I could have this private relationship with myself that I was proud of, that I felt like joy in, and proud to be me and loved myself wholly and
Mhm.
fully, so that if I do re-enter social, I don't have those same. I needed the validation. I needed people
Right.
to tell me, "You look good, girl, you doing the thing," because now I know I do look good. I am doing the thing, and y'all
Correct.
don't even know, but it's okay because I know, and that's all I need.
Yeah, yeah. We always needed that double tap, right? I'm gonna need y'all to double tap on this. But no, you're absolutely right. I had the same experience. So that's why I wanted to talk about it in the beginning in my journal entry, because, for me, privacy was getting off of social media. Like, there's so many things to be private about in our lives, right? Especially like our data, all the real stuff, our bank accounts and, social security numbers, right? There's so many things to be private about. But in this day and age, right now, it's just social media for me because and because it became an addiction so quickly, right? it
Mhm.
just it just sparked and grew like wildfire, like seriously. And so I felt like I couldn't come off of it. I felt like I always had to be on it and seeing what other people are doing and tapping that. And I was chasing someone else's adventures, right? I was like, oh, they went to Maldives, oh, I need to go, right? Like, you are always chasing someone else's life. And for me, that's what privacy was, just getting my own life back on track, and creating what I actually wanted, not just what I saw on, the images, not the blue waters. I wanted to, you know, maybe I want to go and visit countries where I walk and hike, and I don't want to be by the water, which I do. I do. But I just felt like that was so important. But yeah, privacy comes in so many different ways. One thing in your journal entry that you had mentioned is that healing is our responsibility.
Mhm.
And even if we didn't cause that trauma, right, for us, many of us, but it's your responsibility. And I was thinking about that because I was like, ooh, I know a lot of people who actually live private lives, but their lives almost are like they're stuck in like the victim stage of, what I'm saying, like whatever they had experienced or went through. So you think of them and you're like, oh yeah, they're private, but they're actually wrestling with something, right?
Yeah.
And it's not fulfilling. And I'm not to say, I'm speaking on anyone else's life, but I'm just like, if you're living like a life as a victim and not focusing on trying to heal whatever hurt that was in the past, you're gonna have a hard time. But it also matters, those conversations that you are having in private to yourself, like
Yeah.
that needs to also kind of be in line with the life in which you want to live.
Yeah. So, privacy, like when our examples are of social media, that's how we took back our private life. And I'm not saying everybody needs to leave social media, because you may have a healthier relationship with it, and that's
Right.
fine. But there are other ways that you still probably need to be private. So if you're on social media, does everybody need to see everything? No,
Right.
absolutely not. But and you think about some of your friendships, either with your coworkers or your family or your friends, does everybody need to know everything that you're trying to do? Absolutely not. And that's the part of manifestation about privacy, which is really important, because everybody can't know, because everybody brings their own judgments and doubts into your
Mhm.
manifestation. So that, like, taking back your private life is sometimes just not sharing what all your goals are, what your plans are, what you want to be doing, or what you wish you were doing. You kind of like make sure you keep those things private, because, like, even I share a lot with you because I trust that you can help me manifest for myself, but there are still things I don't even share with you because They might be even more outlandish or even something that
Right.
I'm like, ooh, I'm going to hold this tight to the cuff. But when it comes, I could be like, girl, I wanted this. I said this 6 months ago. It showed up for me, and so I
Yeah.
will celebrate and then no longer be private about it because it has come to fruition. But like, I think about privacy, but to your point, like you said, for me, privacy really is all about your personal relationship with yourself. It is a private relationship. Nobody knows what is going on in your head, right? And so
Yeah.
that's why, for me, why healing was so important to my manifestations, to me being able to change my mindset and heal. It was so important because when I got private and I got quiet, when I got rid of all the other distractions, all the other people, all social media, the friends, the family, the things that were keeping me from feeling what I needed to feel so that I could start to work on those emotions and figure out where
Mhm.
those traumas came and how I could heal my younger self that had that experience so that my older self does not have to like sit, like you said, people could be private and not share, but they could be sitting in shame and anguish or hurt or pain or trauma because they don't want to expose that private life with themselves. They don't know how to talk to themselves. They don't want to experience those emotions. So, like,
Mhm.
you have to be able to get quiet to do that. So, again, is why I talk about privacy and like, especially when you've gone through other things, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to share that with people. If
Right.
you're working on healing something, does not have to be public. And I think social media, even there, like, I'm healing, guys. This is what I'm doing. I'm going on this healing journey, making even your healing, because I also was a victim to this when I was doing my social media influencing, that like I was showcasing my healing because that's what I thought I should do. And I know that it did help inspire people, but then it still made me show up with a mask, because I was
Mhm.
still like, I got to worry about what these people are going to say about how I'm healing. And I still wasn't going to be completely honest because there's a lot of things I didn't share that I have to like, that I was
Sure.
healing from, that I have shared on this podcast because I had healed from it. And so
Right.
now I can talk about it without the shame and the guilt and all of that.
Right. Right. So that means like taking those breaks, right? Don't share everything. And also afford yourself the opportunities to just sit with yourself. So I know we have a quote for them, and it's by Edward Snowden, right? And I wanted to
Mhm.
talk about this him in particular because he kind of put, privacy on the map for a lot of Americans just about, their data, right? And how the government's kind of listening in on us. And for a lot of us, we don't care, right? Like
Wow.
some of these things are like, okay, we saw it a couple weeks ago when TikTok was about to get banned. And
No,
I
when
know
it
they were,
got banned, it didn't about to get banned. They
they
took it
did
away for
for
15
a
hours.
day.
And no, 15 hours to be exact. And people, so much so that people moved to Red Note because they were like,
Yes.
oh, so that it was a real big like F you to the government. Be like, oh, you're gonna tell me where I can spend my leisure time when I'm scrolling? Oh, okay, then I'm actually gonna actually download um, a Chinese owned app and give my data away. And so it is interesting,
Correct.
yes, because I think we also kind of feel like, hey, we know the government has been listening for years now because we started to
Right.
talk about something and we saw the ad show up on our feed. We seen, we knew that this was happening. So I think everybody was kind of looking like, what is this really about? My personal opinion about the whole TikTok ban thing, honestly, I said it in season one. I feel like TikTok is spiritual. That
Yeah.
algorithm is so smart and it is better than its competitors, which is why, and because it is not technically US owned, it means the government doesn't have access to that data, right?
Mhm.
Whatever this algorithm is that TikTok going on, y'all did something right because when I say that my feed is perfect for me, and my sister was saying, like, oh, but the kids are going to move off TikTok because the parents are on it now, and that's what happens. And I was like, yes, but no, because TikTok, my kids can be on TikTok and we have two very different TikToks, and that
It's
is for everyone
different.
else. And that's why I mean the algorithm is so smart and so strong and so catered to the person
Yeah.
who has been using it. So, like, anyway, not to go too far to conspiracy theory because we about to go there now. On our personal one-on-one private conversations we get into that. I don't know if y'all ready on the podcast. Maybe you are. Let me know in the comments if y'all ready for us to get a little deeper in these
Let me
conspiracy
tell
theories.
y'all.
But
Zakia was she was a hot mess for a minute.
Oh, without TikTok? Yeah.
Yes.
I was would you know what though? After that, when I realized I was like, "Ooh, Z, you really was like a fiend for your TikTok feed after it went down." I was like, "Ooh, maybe I need to actually take a break from it for that very reason." So like
Oh, that's right.
so I ended up like kind of like coming off of it, but I also have to give some of the credit to TikTok for helping with my spiritual awakening because I
Mhm.
learned so much on that app from
Yes.
like 20 like when I left Instagram, I didn't do it. I think I came on TikTok in 2022 or maybe in 2023. I can't remember, but I remember it like I was getting information and I was seeing videos that I didn't see on any other platforms. And it
Right.
was like I was learning and I was seeing community. I was seeing other black and brown people who were also going through these spiritual awakenings,
Right.
which when I was on Instagram, I didn't really see it. It was kind of like I was in a niche, a little black girl that was like vegan and gardening, and like that was a real
Yeah.
little niche, little group of
Yeah.
people that were into that. And then I go on TikTok and you find out there's this whole black gardeners, like community or like black people spiritually awakening or questioning the government or asking these questions. So
Yeah.
I feel like we have gone all
Honey.
the way around for privacy, which is very interesting because now we're talking about TikTok, but clearly
No, but
that's the way Spirit wanted this conversation to go.
it was an illustration when they banned TikTok, it was an illustration of how we are so free to give our privacy away. Like that's what it said to me. Like I know people were making memes and it was supposed to be funny like here you go China, you
Right.
can have all my data. Right? I know it was a joke, but to some degree y'all was not joking. Y'all were okay with giving it away. And you know, I think back to my own experience growing up, like with my mother. My mother was very private, and we never understood why. Like, mom, like my ex husband used to ask me if my mama worked in the CIA. She was so private. And I was like, no, she does not. She's just like that. And a funny story. So, we took the kids to Disney World, right?
Mhm.
A few years back. And now I hadn't been to Disney World since we were, children. So we get to Disney World, we get off the shuttle, and we're walking up to, the place where you kind of check in or whatever. And nobody knew that you had to put your thumbprint down.
To get in.
Honey, everybody looked back at my mama like, oh Lord. She's about to go into the back office and explain to these people why an amusement park does not need her thumbprint, right? she
But
was
why?
she is that person. She has always been that person. And we were just like, okay, find us over there when you finish doing whatever you got to do to get into this park without releasing your thumbprint, right? Like it was just
But
hilarious, but we all knew
real
that
talk
was
though,
her.
why do you need a thumbprint to go
Real
into an amusement
talk.
park? I mean,
Correct.
the conspiracy theory, like I ain't gonna go in. I ain't getting into that company because
You need my thumbprint. Now the rest of us, everybody was like, we was ready.
we don't paid all
We
this
was
money.
ready.
We don't paid all this money. We getting into this park, and if that's what you need,
Exactly.
I'll give away my individualized fingerprint that is only I have that you now can
Her.
identify. But again, to that point, us willing to give things away for convenience or
Yeah.
like you said,
Yeah.
none of us read the small terms when we download any of these apps and
And
realize
don't.
how much of our data, like if you connect your album to the app, they have access to all of your photos, not just the ones that you post. They have access to all of the albums and things like that. So I have
Yeah.
also, well, not that I'm on Instagram anymore, but like because of work professionally, I do have to have some of the channels just to check some of our brands. And I limited photo access. Like I will tell you what you can have access to on my phone,
Correct.
just because again,
Correct.
privacy. But more than anything else, when I really think about privacy, just to bring it back full circle, I really do think that privacy is so important for when you're manifesting because when you have asked the universe, your God, whatever your spirit, whoever you pray to, and you're saying like, "Hey, this is what I want. I want X, Y, and Z." You can't go around to everybody in the world and say, "Hey, I'm trying to manifest X, Y, and Z," because people are like, "Well,
Mm-mm.
I don't see X, Y, and Z." Well, what are you doing to get X, Y, and Z? And like, is X, Y, and Z even obtainable for you? And these are
Yeah.
the questions. And then you then question yourself because now you have all these other critics that are waiting behind to see your X, Y, and Z unfold. And then you allow that doubt to creep in your head. But when you're private and you are trying to manifest something and no one else knows about it, you don't have to worry about the doubters. You don't have to worry about like people are going to say like, well, what happened? Because nobody knows what you was trying to manifest in the first place. So I do think it's really important when you're thinking about manifesting or when you're trying to change your life or you're trying to do a new mindset, maybe keep some of it quiet
Yeah.
and
I
really
think
work on it personally.
I think some people just have this idea also that if I tell enough people, then, things will happen for me, right? If I tell these people over here, maybe they can network with other people and get me, into that whatever that you're
In some cases,
aspiring
that's right
for.
for some instances.
Yeah, but I would challenge everybody, just take a break from that, right? Like, just don't tell anyone your manifestations, like your desires, and just see. Just give it a shot. If nothing else, just give it a shot and see how, and it might even come quicker than you would have by
Oh,
telling
absolutely.
all five of these people over here that you thought something was going to
Absolutely.
happen.
Lightning speed when you get
Yeah.
quiet. Well, I
Yeah.
think when you get quiet with yourself, write it down, read it out loud, and then imagine
Yeah.
what life is like when that manifestation has come through. And you can do all this privately. I love to do it in the morning and the evening before I get out of bed, or right
Mhm.
before I fall asleep. When the veil between the spiritual world is very thin, like right when you wake up and then right before you fall asleep,
Yeah.
think about and imagine that dream life that you want and do this privately. Again, there's something so powerful when you do it in privacy because now it's just you and your God, you and
Yeah.
your universe, you and your angels, you and whoever it is that you believe that helps make all of this possible, whatever
Right.
your creator is. It's just a relationship between you. Now it's just the two of you. And he's like, I got you. I could do it this way. I could do it that way. We got all these
Yes.
different ways because you didn't have all these other influences or other people
Right.
involved and like
Right.
naysayers or people like, well, maybe you should do it this way. And I think you should do this. Don't worry about it because when you do it privately, I think you develop inspired thought. So
Yeah.
you're like, hey, I want X, Y, and Z. And then you have a thought like, search something up. You search something up and you find a local class that you can go to that's going to help you develop a skill that's going to help you get to X, Y, and Z. Like so those things. And when you're quiet, um, and when you're private, I just cannot stress enough how important it is for you to take back some of your privacy. Keep some of it
Mhm.
just for you, or keep some of it just for your tight knit circle. Like develop levels of boundaries for your privacy.
Yeah.
When it comes to this, my thoughts and my most innermost feelings and the things that I'm trying to manifest, those are my private thoughts, and there no one else is involved in those. And then you
Absolutely.
have the closer group. So I have people like you and people in my like tribe who I know if I say like, "Hey guys, this is what I'm trying to manifest," will be like, oh, "Okay, I see that for you," and are going to help big me up to it, or might send me a TikTok or something to be like, "Hey, I heard this. You said this, and I heard this. You should follow up with that." Again, you get that inspired thought, but you're getting it from people who are on your same frequency,
Sure.
right? So they're part of your tribe and they understand what you're trying to do. So,
Yeah.
and then you have things that you can like let out a little bit more public, but again, everything starts privately. Everything starts with you first. Your relationship with yourself, you heal that, you improve that, everything else is easier.
I
When you work
agree.
on yourself and you're happy at home, when you can actually be
Yeah.
happy at home in your private life with yourself,
Ooh.
your outer life then also becomes happy. Everything comes to you at lightning speed because you are now vibrating at a higher frequency because you love who you are. So get private with
Yes.
yourself, y'all.
Yes.
Get
Your
quiet.
privacy is your power. It is your identity. Hold that shit close. Like, stop it. Stop and stop oversharing too. Can I just say that as my last pointer for y'all? Stop oversharing.
Well, no, Keela, you're right. Especially when someone says to you, "Hey, how was your day?" The answer is always great, thank you. Even if the clouds are out,
That's
it's
it.
gray, and you are like down and out. You do not need to share that because again, you've put out that vibration, and those person will be like, "Oh, girl, I ran into Zakia and she is down and out." Then that person will be like, "Girl, I heard Zakia, she is down and out." So now everybody putting down and out feelings for you into the universe. So even if I was down and out, I'm gonna tell you, I'm doing lovely.
That's
Hey,
it.
girl, bye. And keep it moving if
Yes.
I can't keep up a conversation because I'm not in that vibration. But
Yeah.
don't share your worries. Don't overshare your worries. That only brings more of them to you. Talk
Thank you.
about and be public with the things that you want for your life that aren't you're not holding cuff like the manifestation. You hold that tight to the cuff. Those things that you really are trying to manifest and change for your life. But like when you do share, share the good.
Yeah.
Share the things that you do want in your life, the things that you do want to multiply and have more of. But like definitely don't overshare the grief, guys. Don't overshare because that's not what you want for your life. You're in a moment. Life is made of ebbs and flows. Sometimes they'll be great, sometimes they won't.
Right.
But don't get down there and stuck down in there and let everybody else help keep you stuck down there. I saw one quote that was like, privacy is power. And it really is, you guys. I believe it is manifestation power in your private. But we did find, like we said, one quote that we wanted to share with you all, just because I think it kind of like summed up everything that we had exactly said on this. And that was this idea of like power. There is power in privacy, but your privacy matters. And Edward Snowden said it perfectly when he said, privacy matters. Privacy is what allows us to determine who we are and who we want to be.
That's a
So,
good
thank
one.
you so much for joining us for our season 2, episode 1 of Getting Here the podcast. I'm Zakia,
And I'm Akila.
and we'll see you next week. Peace, y'all.
Welcome back.
Until next time, get in here, get in here, get in here.